Spoilers for Endgame, Game of Thrones, Star Wars, Titanic, and the Bible. Y'all been warned. Okay, so the Urban Dictionary defines spoilers as when someone reveals a previously unknown subject of something of which you likely would have rather learned on your own. This is usually in reference to a plot twist in the story, but in theory it can apply to any detail. Now, spoilers are a very contentious subject, but for the most part people agree that spoiling something is generally considered a dick move. And unfortunately, there are some people out there who just do not care if they spoil something, or even worse, they take enjoyment out of spoiling things for others. And also, unfortunately, with the rise and now ubiquitous nature of the internet, it's really hard to avoid these people. Now, there's plenty of debate about when and why it's acceptable to spoil something. Usually, the most common argument is a certain passage of time after the release date. A year? A few weeks? Some may even argue a few days. But now, I disagree with that. I don't believe time is a good metric for determining this. Here are a few reasons why. The first and perhaps most obvious is that most people have really busy lives. You know, we spend 40 plus hours a week working a shit job we hate for our capitalist overlord. We commute home, we do more chores, we sleep. Maybe if we're lucky we can squeeze in some Fortnite or Stalin versus Martians or something. We don't get enough sleep, and then we wake up the next day and start the whole thing over again. They don't even let us talk trash at work. And on top of that, a lot of people actually have kids, which blows my mind. A lot of people don't have the capability to just drop all these things off and go see things on the opening weekend. And sometimes people aren't even able to see movies during theatrical runs, and they have to wait for the home release. The ancillary market is a huge deal. But you know, they didn't bring their baby to see Endgame. We should be grateful for that. Giving some spoiler tags is the least we can do to repay these people for not having their demons spawn screeching throughout the whole movie. But my second reason for why we shouldn't spoil, and I have yet to hear a convincing argument against it in all my years of discussing this, is age. Particularly people who are too young to see certain media or who are born past the release date. You know, I don't believe people should be deprived of enjoyment simply because of the day they were born. It's kind of messed up, especially considering that you yourself have likely already derived your own enjoyment from it, but now you're depriving someone else of theirs. I do, however, think there are certain situations where it's acceptable to spoil something. They seem kind of obvious to me, but after researching this online, apparently not everyone agrees. Starting at the top here, it's acceptable to spoil something that is historical or religious. These are typically considered to be common knowledge and already known by everyone going to see the movie anyway. The Titanic sinks is an obvious example. We all know what happened there, otherwise it wouldn't really be a movie. Now Jack dies at the end and Rose sees the ghosts of all the people on the ship in some weird coma dream. That's a huge spoiler. These are not well-known historical figures and these events are kind of dramatized for the sake of the movie. And also, ghosts aren't real. And then there's religious events. For example, Jesus dies. Duh! That's the whole point. Also, it's fine to spoil Mel Gibson movies. I also consider it acceptable to spoil something that has already been spoiled through heavy advertising and merchandise. So when Vader said, "No, Luke, I am your father," that was a huge deal at the time. But since then, even the prequel movie posters spoiled this fact by showing that Anakin would turn into Darth Vader. Thanks, Lucas. Considering the story that the prequels are trying to tell, there's not really a way you couldn't spoil that, but you get my point. And the last case about when I think you can spoil something is very carefully. When you're trying to convince someone to watch something, but they're not really that interested in it, it's acceptable to show them a little clip to get them excited. You know, I've wanted to show people the Fast and Furious movies, but they aren't interested. So, okay, here's a cool car chase. Easy, right? But I don't show the climax. The scene doesn't really say much about the rest of the plot though. But it's enough. It's just enough to get them enticed. You know what I'm saying? I will never be able to convince people not to spoil certain movies. Some people are malicious and they derive enjoyment out of it. And some people are incapable of even understanding when they do it. But for everyone else out there who may be concerned about spoiling something, here's a good example of what you shouldn't do. I got this shirt at a thrift store. I think it's appropriate for this next segment. 4 days after the release of Avengers Endgame and 1 day after an episode of Game of Thrones, the Twitch streamer Destiny tweeted out a pretty major spoiler without any warning. This understandably made a number of his fans upset. He knew he would get a reaction though, because he even mentioned this before he tweeted it out.
Oh my god, Stin, I have to steal it. I'm sorry. No, fuck, I shouldn't tweet that. That's like a hardcore spoiler, right?
And also, the day after Endgame came out, he tried to get another streamer, Raj Patel, to spoil it as well.
I was on the Trainwrecks podcast. I think you told me you told me if I were to spoil Endgame at that moment on the podcast, you would come on my show. the next day. You were trying to get me to spoil it before. Like,
No. I didn't say that. I don't know what
you're trying to get me to spoil it even a day later. This was the day it came out.
But considering how mad he's gotten at all the people getting upset, I don't think he's being Machiavellian here. He would have moved on by now.
And then it turned into a debate, just like everything else turns into a debate on his channel, and mine as well. And then he doubled down on it, tripled down, quadrupled down.
He genuinely doesn't want to ever accept that he's in the wrong. It's not a new thing with him. But LeftTube has been growing lately, and he's kind of gotten lumped in with them. I don't think these people quite realize just what kind of person he is. He has a history of trying to be edgy and calling himself a sociopath. It's like he read the definition of psychopath in a textbook and thought, yeah, this will be fun to LARP as. But what really made his audience upset was his doubling down on it. I think this is the clip that really started it.
Okay, so that's like my somewhat nuclear take. Here's like my fucking atom bomb nuclear take, okay? Destiny, cool then. Just know that next time there is a movie that you want to watch, we will spoil it, and if you complain, we'll reference this podcast again, seeing as you're streaming technically on social media, so it is your own fault. If you guys want to do that, I'm fine with that. I spoil everything myself. I always read plot synopses before I go see movies. I'm exactly like Lily in this. You can go to her stream and you can ask her too. I don't give a fuck about spoilers, because when I watch a movie, I don't go there with the literal fucking attitude of a 4-year-old that has a fucking Jack in the Box in front of them. We need to get surprised when some crazy, stupid fucking shit happens. That type of cancerous, stupid mentality is the exact reason why I stayed away from Game of Thrones for so long. It's because people are like, oh, Game of Thrones is really cool. Why is that? Because crazy times characters die and you don't even expect it. It's like, oh, that sounds really fucking stupid. Like, oh wow, you like watching a show because like main characters die sometimes? Like you just want to be surprised? Like it's so stupid. Like, okay, dude. And that's why I actually stayed away from Game of Thrones so long before realizing, oh, actually it's way better than that. This is just like the normie cancer take on it where people just want to be surprised when they watch things. You can spoil whatever the fuck you want from me. I don't give a fuck. I've been spoiled in almost every major movie I've gone to see. But if like a movie is good, you should enjoy watching it for the sake of the movie. Like people, I wish I had, oh man, I wish I would have saved this comment last night. Somebody made this in chat. Somebody in chat was saying things like, oh, well, there are a lot of movies that aren't even worth watching if you're spoiled. Movies like Memento and Fight Club. And it's like, dude, how much of a shitty fucking moron are you when you think like Fight Club and Memento aren't even worth watching if you know the twist? Like, holy shit, just fucking off yourself if you literally watch movies like that. Like, you're so pathetically fucking stupid. That's all I got, sorry.
Oh man, you think that's bad? Here's my hydrogen bomb take, all right? Your refusal to ever admit that you're wrong or why you are wrong is why all of your relationships have failed in the past, why you have a bad relationship with your family, why you've been fired from previous jobs, and why you haven't been feeling very fulfilled in your life lately. Got 'em. So naturally, a lot of people in this community are upset by this. A lot of Reddit threads, a lot of comments, but instead of just apologizing or ignoring all of them, oh no, he had to triple down on it. He'd bring it up again, over and over in his streams.
And apparently there are people that 4 or 5 days after Endgame came out hadn't seen the movie and they were on fucking Twitter. And so people got ass paid at me.
Dropping casual homophobia, calling people ass pained. Kind of contradictory with what his pinned Twitter comment says. Oh yeah, and by the way, he's banned from Twitter. Yeah, he made another account, it's ban evasion. He said he needed Twitter for his job, which I guess entails being a dick and spoiling things, apparently. Part of his justification for spoiling things originally was that other people are apparently so obsessed with social media and they're so addicted they can't get off of it.
It actually blows my mind how fucking obsessed people are with having to be on social media.
Yet here he is making an account even though he was banned. I'm a little surprised he's never worked at a movie theater before because he's good at projection. And at the time of me filming this, a couple weeks after all this started, he's kept going, but it's gotten worse.
You're on a spoiling rampage where you're DMing people and spoiling shit in DMs.
So much worse. He started PMing people who were upset about this, leaked spoilers for the next Game of Thrones episode.
And now it's gotten to the point where like literally 2 weeks later, people are still making threads on it. So now like if people are going to say that like I'm this huge dick that spoils everything, now I'm like, fuck it, I'll just do it. So I started DMing people that were like writing shitty comments about me. I started DMing them leaks from the next few episodes of Game of Thrones. Those leaks are confirmed, by the way. So if I messaged you on Reddit, those leaks are confirmed and it is spoiled. You don't have to watch it now. Don't worry. Shit.
Now don't worry, I'm not going to spoil them here. From what I can tell, it began with the posters and commenters on his own subreddit who are still angry with him and still calling him out on this.
Well,
I just want to say this is worse than bed bugs.
When someone who sends bed bugs to people says that's worse, oh man, you're all... Again, I'm not going to show you guys these details here, but if you go onto his subreddit, you can see that a number of his fans have started doing the same thing, sharing spoilers to people. What a lovely community being fostered by someone who criticizes others for having a bad community themselves.
I think like waiting after like opening weekend to make a tweet like that, I think it's fine. If you're like that triggered and you're still on Twitter, like after opening weekend, like I don't really give a fuck. Like if those kind of people want to unfollow me, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I did do that. Damn shame, really.
There's a difference between the initial tweet, which like anyone who had a problem with that's an idiot, and like actually DMing them leaked spoilers for an episode that hasn't even aired yet. That's a bit. Come on,
I
dude.
100% agree with you. What I'm doing right now is I'm just being a huge piece of shit. I 100% agree. But that,
DMing's
I've
too
accepted
far.
that at this point.
Of course, though, not content to end it there, he decided to quadruple down on it. He began doing it to people on other subreddits who were criticizing him. Yeah, people who probably took his advice and avoided his content and communities in the first place were getting PM'd spoilers by this dude. So this naturally accumulated in him getting banned from the subreddit livestream fails. Okay, so it's possible he's having a mental breakdown, and if he is, I'm genuinely sorry. But you know what? I don't think it is. I think he's just gotten super full of himself lately. I would bet that the fame has gone to his head.
He's gotten mad with power.
You're abandoning his kid to go live in Los Angeles, banging fans 10 years his younger. Some he flew out to the other side of the world to meet, with whom he has a parasocial relationship as they don't really know him very well and he's just a celebrity to them and all they know about him is what they see on the camera screen, which is very curated, I'm going to assume, because that's what everybody on the internet does. Basically, it's all gone to his head and made him really out of touch. If this take were any hotter, it would be my mixtape. Spotify link to my mixtape is in the description, by the way. See him in the blue jacket, now see me in the Hawaiian shirt. Yeah. The difference between us is I could pull this off. Okay, so obviously I can't convince him otherwise. But for everyone else out there on the internet, consider the following. If you're a public figure on the internet, building a community, or an aspiring figure trying to build a community, or you're just a normal person, you know, with friends, whatever those are, whatever that's like, you know, maybe don't spoil things. And if you accidentally do, apologize and try not to do it again. It's easy stuff. The very likely end result of frequently spoiling things is causing your followers or friends to mute you or block you. They don't know if you're going to be spoiling something randomly from the next movie they haven't seen yet. Like, you're making people ignore you and stop listening to you for a very petty reason. That's no way to build an audience, and that is no way to make and maintain friendships. Now, to end this on a positive note, you may be familiar with this XKCD comic. It argues that you shouldn't make fun of people for not knowing something. Rather, you should take enjoyment out of being there to share that new experience with them. No one can never really know everything. There's no way anyone can keep up with and consume all of the media being released these days. And personally, I think it's much more satisfying to share these things with my friends than to spoil things for them. Yes, I realize that with this video, I'm basically guaranteeing that people will start sending me spoilers now. But I accept this burden, for the hardest of choices require the strongest of wills. Also, destiny can eat it. Hey everyone, I know this isn't political, but I really wanted to do something about spoilers for a while, and the opportunity presented itself. Don't worry, I have many more plans. I'd like to give a special thanks to my April Patreon backers, Susie M. and Joshua Moldenhauer. Backing me on Patreon gets you access to all the behind the scenes and cut content. You also get all my unedited green screen footage that you can do whatever you want with. Go memes, go crazy, you know what to do. Give a like if you were shocked by Judas's betrayal. Leave an anchored comment if you don't know your Bible. Subscribe. Yeah, just do it. Do it, you little baby.